So I think we'll go ahead and get started, everyone. Welcome to our virtual college panels evening. This is always a really fun event for the school counselors. We really love hearing about the different schools from all across the country. We're really fortunate to be able to have Zoom as a possibility where we're able to have colleges join us so easily for a quick hour on a random Tuesday night. So we're excited to have the 5 p.m. panels that represent some of the larger schools in our applicant pool, and then some smaller schools will be joining us at 6 p.m. So we hope that you'll be able to join us for both. But that's basically all you're going to be hearing from the school counselors this evening. Just a quick introduction from us. Again, we are your school counselors. My name is Elisa Taylor. I am the counseling department leader, and I'm joined this evening by Manny Harwich, who is probably at the top or the side of your screen. Jen Andrews is also here. She is just popping in for a little bit of the 5 p.m. panels, but we'll be coordinating the 6 p.m. panels a little bit later this evening. But for now, what we will do is pass it over to our reps, who will give a short overview about their colleges. They'll 5-ish minutes or so, and then we have some questions that we've outlined for them and ask them to answer. So we'll go down the line, and then after that, if time allows, we will allow for some questions. So I have UMass first on my list. So Rachel, I will turn it over to you if you want to do a quick overview about UMass.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'll share my screen there. So I, of course, am Rachel Mason, Associate Director of First Year Recruitment, representing the University of Massachusetts-Amherst, which is the flagship campus for the university system here in Massachusetts. We are located in Amherst, a great little college town, surrounded by some beautiful outdoor opportunities for students. We are part of the 5 college consortium as well, so our students have the advantage of not only the resources at the university, but also the surrounding colleges that they can take courses from, participate in different activities, and again, benefit from those resources. We are ranked as one of the top 15% of the public universities here in the United States. I think we lose track of the fact that we have such an amazing gem of an institution here right in Massachusetts. We offer over 90 majors for students to choose from. It's not unusual for our students to come in with one major, change to another, double, minor. Again, limitless opportunities to not only really delve into what a student is interested in, but also to explore and discover some new ones. We are a research institution with lots of opportunities for students to participate in research starting in their first semester at the university. What I love is that it's not limited to your major. Again, the opportunity to explore and discover. We have a huge base of alums, very enthusiastic, supporting our students. I am one of those. So it would be great to be able to welcome you into our family. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, we've had #1 dining in the United States, according to the Princeton Review. You may have heard of them, for the last 7 years running. Well, I like to emphasize, though, this is really a result of our commitment, not only to our students' well-being, but also to the environment and surrounding agricultural opportunities, really making sure that we are not only providing good, nutritious food, but also ones that reflect students' own cultural and dietary needs. So who are we? We are 23,000 students when we talk about undergraduates. When you add our graduate students in, we're close to 30,000 students coming from across the country, always missing a few states here and there. If you know anybody from North Dakota, I may have a scholarship for them. I'd love to get that up there. But our students are also coming to us from around the world, really building on the diverse culture that we have here. Lots of ways we can distinguish ourselves, one of which is we've been ranked as one of the top LGBTQ friendly campuses in the country. The Stonewall Center, founded in 1985, was one of the first of its kind on a college campus. Our students make up about 33% identify as individuals of color, and 22% are first in their families to attend college. These are great stats. We love stats and admissions, but what's really important to know is that we're able to support our students, not only admit them, but support them to and through graduation. We've actually been recognized as a Gen Forward institution because of the work that we're doing and our outcomes. We're research institutions. Outcome is always important to know. What can you do at UMass? A lot. We have over 400 clubs for students to choose from, anything from student government, outdoor activities, affinity groups, religious organizations. Yes, we do have a lettuce eating club. If you've heard about it, it's a true thing. You get together, you compete to see who can eat a head of iceberg lettuce the fastest. What's important to note is clubs like this are developed by our students. We did not dream this up. They did. They enjoy it. We support it. And finally, of course, the cornerstone of any education is the faculty members. And again, as a research institution, all of our faculty must be engaged in research. So really looking at the world, identifying problems, asking questions, looking for solutions, and our students get to be part of that process. We are supporting them in all ways, not just inside the classroom, but also outside. This is just a sampling of the different organizations on campus that are there to help support our students to build community. I know we are a large institution, but we're really focused on helping our students find their community within this large community. When we're talking about academics, we offer over 90 majors, 60 minors. We also don't see what you want, you can absolutely develop your own degree through our bachelor's degree with individual concentration. Not sure what you're interested in, you can absolutely apply to one of our exploratory tracks. The school itself is broken down into 10 schools and colleges that are listed here. Everything from education and engineering to nursing, computer science, management, and so forth. Major does matter. So when students apply, they apply to a specific major or to an exploratory track. And it's important to note that the competitiveness will change depending on the major. These are our three most competitive majors. They are also difficult to transfer into, if not an option at all. So nursing and the Eisenberg School of Management are what we call closed majors. Students must apply directly to them and be admitted into them. They're not able to transfer internally. Computer science, students can absolutely explore transferring into once they're on campus, but there are very limited spaces. And so if ultimately a student wants to pursue any of these degrees, my encouragement is to apply directly. If you're admitted, fantastic. If not, I'm sure that you have other options that will be made available to you because you have an amazing guidance counselor staff that is going to give you some good options for you to apply to. So definitely take advantage of that resource. So I really encourage you to make a trip out, come visit our gorgeous campus. We've had more than $2 billion in renovations over the last couple of years. So if your parents attended UMass-Amherst, it is not the same. Come on out, try our food, meet our students, and see if perhaps this is one that you would want to consider applying to in the fall. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. All right, so I know that was quick. We're going to move on. I will move on to the University of South Carolina. Are you ready to go? How about we'll pause on USC. Ken, are you ready to go?
Sure.
Great, awesome.
All right, let's share. So hello, everyone. My name is Kenny Sawada, and I work for Syracuse Admissions. Our school color is orange. We just blast that out right away from in our PowerPoint. I was going to set my timer just in case I don't go over. All right, so some highlights about Syracuse that I'll share with you. We are located in upstate New York. We have about 15,000 students, so we consider ourselves mid-size, but we're more on the upper end of mid-size. We do feel that we're very cozy on campus for a bunch of different reasons. One of those is the physical layout of campus. It only takes about 12 minutes to walk across the campus grounds. We do offer a virtual tour. You can check that out on our website. And we host tours daily, including Saturdays. Two highlights that I'll share with you here. Like I covered the one with how fast it takes to walk across campus. The other one is that we are urban. We're in the city of Syracuse. One of the closest comparisons to a New England city would be Providence. So just in terms of the surrounding area. Even though we're urban, we're set back from downtown, so it does feel a bit more suburban when you're on campus. Here are our, Rachel, I liked how you did the the specific, like the more competitive schools and colleges within UMass. So we might have to do that with this slide. So here are our 10 schools and colleges at Syracuse, and students are applying on the Common App or the Coalition to one of these 10. And we do have some programs such as Newhouse for communications or sport majors within Falk College that tend to be more competitive than others. There is a lot of cross interdisciplinary studying. So half of our students are combining different programs at the university with either double majors or major minor combinations. So I never want students to feel like they're pigeonholed into one of these 10 departments. So you can absolutely study across the different fields. Average class size is 26. Most of our classes are below 20. And we do have an honors program for students that we automatically consider students for during the application process. Here's a sampling of some of our where our students have interned over the last couple of years. And so job placement is crucial. And so every student has not only access to the career services office on campus, but also their individual career counselor within their specific school or college that they're in to help. And we have like 30 different career fairs throughout the course of the year, employers who come to campus to recruit our students. And half of our students are getting their job through an alumni connection that they've made during their time at Syracuse. And we also have grad programs too. We have a law school and you can get your MBA. And so there's roughly about 200 graduate programs as well. I know that's way far down the road, but just to make you aware of that. Other academic opportunities, we are an R1 institution, which is the highest level that universities can be. We do a lot for potential entrepreneurs. So we have what's called the Blackstone Launchpad to help students get their ideas off the ground, in addition to other things at the university. Study abroad is big for us. We're top 10 in the country for this program that's been around over 100 years. Students could study first semester freshman year abroad at one of our centers. We do have 5 in total where students can spend at that center with other, not only Syracuse students, but other students from other colleges as well. And then we also have study away programs within the US. So we have centers in DC, New York City, and LA. Side note, our original school colors, we tell people this on tour. Our original school colors were actually pink and green. And so it was pink and green, and then it was pink and blue for about 20 years. And then the students revolted, and then we switched to orange. So we've been that since then. Student life is big for us. We have over 350 plus student organizations. We've ranked for our school spirit. So that is a big part of our kind of balancing both academics and school spirit is a big thing for us. So plenty to do on campus, whether it's community service, Greek life, intramural and club sports, etc. And we do have a lot of students from Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a top 5 state where we have students come from. I'll just pick 2 things on here that I'll pick out. One is that we are considered one of the snowiest cities in the country. So just be cognizant of that. We try to limit the number of pictures that have snow in them, but here is one. So we will be truthful with you. So there are 3 ski resorts within a 30-minute radius of campus. One of my favorite spots is the athletic stadium, the dome. And so we use this facility for a lot of events like Monster Jam, and Pink will be performing there this October, which I'm very excited about, in addition to our sports teams. Living on campus, all of our freshmen and sophomores live on campus at the university. It's about a 50-50 split after sophomore year. Predominantly double rooms. We do have half of our double rooms are split doubles, and then the other half are open space doubles. So it's just nice to have that variety and option for students. And then the other highlight is that we have private bathroom pods. About 85% of our residence halls, our goal is to get that up to 100%. So it's just nice to have that privacy within the bathroom space. And then the admissions information here is that a couple of things to highlight. We do not have early action. We just have the binding early decision 1 and 2, as well as regular decision. I know we'll talk about testing in a bit, but just to share with you our policies that we've been test optional the last couple of years. We're still deciding on what to do. So for those of you who are juniors, still deciding on that, but hopefully we'll have a decision shortly, and we'll let people who are on our email list know about that, as well as counselors. We do conduct interviews for students. This is an optional way for you to get to know us one-on-one. We do them through Zoom. It's usually with a senior intern or an admissions staff member like myself. So it's not something that you need to do, but you can feel free to connect with us in that fashion. We do look at demonstrated interest as part of our process. So that's something that, a way for you to show that. You can also show that when we come to your school to present. And so that's another way you can do that too. So, and then with funding is that our goal is to meet full demonstrated need for as many students as possible. I think the official percentage last year was like 98% of demonstrated need that was met, which has risen since I started working at Syracuse. And we asked for 2 pieces, which is the FAFSA and the CSS profile. So we're one of the schools that does require that extra step of the CSS. All right, and then there's contact information for Syracuse, and I will wrap up there. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it. All right. I think we had lost University of South Carolina, but I think she's back. So I'm going to turn it over to, I hope I'm saying this right, Naina. Hope I'm saying it correctly.
It's Nana.
Nana. Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was getting
All right.
in and out. But I'm here. Hi, guys. I'm just going to share my PowerPoint real quick. All right. Can everyone see that okay? So, alrighty, so this is our university. We're right here in the heart of South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. We're an hour and a half away from the beach and the mountains for people seeking that good weather. It's a wonderful place to be. Me, myself, I'm admissions rep, and I focus mainly on New England, but I'm also a USC graduate myself. I graduated last year in May with a degree in math. I know, so fun. Love to crunch numbers. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. So here's a little bit about Columbia. We are, I would say, a city sitting here in Boston. I'm going to say that in quotes because it's more suburban, and you get both the feel of being in a college town, but also having that city near you. So USC just feels very warm and cozy. And here's just some photos from Columbia. All right, for academics, we have 60 nationally ranked programs. That includes anything in the School of Business, nursing, hospitality, sports, retail management. While we're a big university, we always try to go for that 18:1 student faculty ratio. I'll show you some numbers later for how many students we have in our body. But we also have 350 plus unique degree programs. That includes anything from any major, minor, or cognate that you want to take at the university. Here's just some photos. So we do not stop you from exploring other majors. You want to come in as an undergraduate student and double major, that is completely fine. We have students that major in 2 different colleges at the same time. Your first year advisor will work with you to kind of figure that out as you're going through that process. So we have a couple of Carolina elite programs, and these would be the top of the crop students at our university. And there is an application process for the Honors College to then be considered a top scholar. So we have the Honors College as well as Capstone, which are 2 separate programs. Honors is a 4-year program, while Capstone is only 2. And the main difference between the 2 is Honors is for students who want that academic rigor. So they want to write a thesis at the end of the 4 years, versus Capstone, which focuses on service, learning, leadership, study abroad within those 2 years of the program. The top photo in the corner, that is the Capstone House. Cool fact, the restaurant on top spins. It's called Top of Carolina. Anytime you win a huge championship, it turns bright red, so everyone on campus knows that we've won something, like the women's basketball team did over the weekend, which was amazing. You can do study abroad as well. We let students go pretty much anywhere, especially since after COVID, and you can do that as early as spring semester of your first year. So you just use the fall semester to kind of plan that out. We're also R1 Institute for Research, so a lot of different majors have a research component, or if you want to work with a faculty member, we encourage that as well. We have an office dedicated solely to research on our campus. As for housing and dining, we have 20 residents, more than 20. We just built a brand new one called Campus Village, which is super nice, and living and learning communities for students who want to live with other students of the same interests, and 30 plus unique dining locations. We always have a joke that there's Chick-fil-A on campus. So if anybody wants to eat Chick-fil-A, you can. Some freshmen choose to eat that 3 times a day when they're starting off. So if that is your interest, you're more than welcome to do that. Sadly, there is no Dunkin'. I know students here in New England get very sad when they hear that. Not on campus, but there are tons of Starbucks locations. We might have to switch you over to that, but yeah. Health and wellness as well. We have a really nice gym with the indoor climbing wall, pool both inside and outside for people who love to swim. We have that as well. And tons of student support. You know, your first year is very important to us, and we want to make sure you're getting all the help that you need. So we really do focus in on that. For student life, we do have the nation's best first year experience, and that's all. We're always very proud of that. We want to make sure you're having a very good year when you're coming in, whether that be First Night Carolina, which is essentially a block party a day before classes start, to kind of get you all riled up for classes, because what's this? It's so fun to have 8 a.m. class, right? So we want to make sure you're ready and hype, and we have over 600 student organizations on campus. Same with student success, like I mentioned earlier, we really do focus in on making sure you're getting that help and aid that you need, which comes with first year advising as well as moving forward throughout your 4 years. Here's some photos of Spirit. I'm just gonna fly through the rest of this. We want to make sure you're also prepared for outside of the classroom, which comes with the internship opportunities. We are a huge campus with tons of alumni all over the world, so we do focus in on getting you those connections if there's something very niche that you want to do. And these are some of the colleges that we have on campus. Everything from the heart of campus, which is the Horseshoe, is about a 15-minute walk to all of these different colleges. And you can have classes in any of these, just depending on what your major is. And this is just some data real quick to wrap it up. Those are our top 10 states. We get tons of students coming in from the north. We're about 43 to 57 out of state to in-state. That being said, we're pretty half and half every year in our in-state and out-of-state student body. And just class size, we welcomed a class of over 7,300 students last year, so we're getting bigger each year. We had over 50,000 applications this year, so a very hectic application season. But these are just some of our numbers. Again, this is the middle 50%, and we'll discuss tests and stuff like that later, but these are just the numbers that you can have in mind. But yeah, that's USC in a little nutshell.
Thank you so much. I know it's a lot to go through in a quick 5 minutes. And last but certainly not least, Elise Snyder from Boston University.
Yep, thanks guys. Hi everyone. Go ahead and share my screen here to close us out. Hopefully you all can see that now. My name is Elise Snyder. I'm a senior assistant director on the Board of Admissions with Boston University. I'm also a very proud BU alum myself. I have my undergrad degree and then also my master's from BU. So talking a little bit about Boston University, I like to start by sharing about campus. I'm a really visual learner. I think it's hard for me to talk about a school for the next 4 or 5 minutes if you don't know what it looks like, but hopefully you all have some sense of what BU looks like. If you haven't been on a campus tour, you've most likely been into Boston at some point. If you've been to a Red Sox game, you've essentially been on BU's campus. Our campus starts off here at the Citgo sign, and we've got Fenway Park just across the road, basically right over here. So we start at the Citgo sign, we go in a straight line down Commonwealth Avenue for about 1.5 miles. So we have a really unique campus space. We're certainly urban, but we're not necessarily intermingled into downtown Boston. So when you're on BU's campus, you do still feel like a student, especially during the passing periods between classes. Both sidewalks of ComAb are just completely congested with students. There's no doubt in your mind that you are on a college campus. We are very proud of our campus community at BU. We have about 17,000 undergraduate students who come from all of the 50 states and from 120 different countries from around the globe. To create this campus community, We guarantee housing for all 4 years, which is very rare for such an urban school. About 85% of students live on campus with us. So we're definitely a residential community. Students don't necessarily commute to and from home to get to classes every day. Typically, you're going to be living in our dormitories. Because of that, we have first year dorms that are fairly typical. You've got usually one roommate and a bathroom down the hall. We have suite style where you have a couple roommates and typically a private bathroom, all the way through apartment style where you have your own kitchen and such. And to keep you engaged and entertained on campus, we have over 450 different clubs and organizations that you can join. Everything from Greek life to a cappella, theater, religious, political, cultural organizations, you name it, we have it. We have a Quidditch team, we have a cheese lovers association, we have a board games club. Truly, it all exists on campus. And then we're big in athletics as well. We're Division I athletic school, hockey and basketball are our two biggest D1 sports. We're ranked, I believe, second in the nation for hockey at the moment. So always an exciting time for BU's hockey team. So that's a little bit about our community. Of course, you're coming to BU to learn, to pursue a major, to experience our academics. I could say a lot about our academic offerings, but I think one of the most important things to know is how flexible they are. So at BU, we have over 300 different programs of study you can choose from. So majors, minors, concentrations. The one big program that we don't offer BU is going to be an undergraduate nursing program. So if you know you want to be a nurse tomorrow, we're probably not going to be the right fit for you, and that's perfectly fine. But we do have 10 schools and colleges. They're all listed at the bottom here with a plethora of other programs to choose from. But you can really move between them at any time. You're not required to graduate with the major that you put on the application. About 80% of our students will change their major at some given time during their 4 years. We're very supportive of that. The majority of our students will also likely pursue multiple programs, major and a minor, a double major, what we call a dual degree, 2 majors within 2 different schools and colleges on campus are all options to you as a student. But our most popular incoming major is actually undeclared. So if you have no idea what you want to study just yet, that's great. We're going to support you in that. About a third of our incoming class comes in as undeclared. Obviously, you can't graduate as an undeclared student, so you'll make up your mind before the end of your sophomore year, but you have a lot of support from advisors, from professors during that time to help you make those decisions. When it comes to professors, our student to faculty ratio is about 11:1, and our average class size is about 30 students. So very small for being such a large institution. In addition to academics, BU is known for a couple other things, notably research. We are a Research 1, a Tier 1 research institution, which means that we give a lot of our time and funding to research projects on campus for our students and our faculty members. Every student who comes through BU will be doing research, whether you realize it or not, but it's going to be an area that you are interested in. A lot of times when we talk about research, students think it's going to be something like this picture here, working with like test tubes in a lab. You got like a lab coat. It's always chemistry research. I don't know why, but it doesn't have to be that way. So if you're studying literature, if you're studying education or business, you'll be working on research in those specific areas of your own interest. You can apply for your own funding through our undergraduate research opportunities program. You'll write research papers, you'll work on projects. It's very integrated into the BU experience. For students who may be less excited about research, probably more excited about getting that experience out in the world through internships and jobs. Over 80% of students who graduate from BU each year have at least one internship. Because we're located in Boston, there's really no excuse. If you want an internship, you're going to be able to find one, and you're going to be able to have that internship while taking classes at the same time. Most BU students don't wait until the summer or take time off to have an internship. They'll usually work with our Center for Career Development to help locate and prepare for that internship during the school year. And then internships and research are also 2 things that can take you abroad with BU. We have one of the oldest and largest study abroad programs in the country. It's something we are definitely known for. We have over, it says 70 here, but really we're up to 80 study abroad programs in 30 different cities across the globe. Most students who go abroad will have an internship while they're there, so it's a guaranteed work placement. Others will do research either in the lab or in the field. We have programs that study the native plant and animal life in South America, or are doing archaeological digs in Eastern Europe. And then we have some students who choose to do a cultural immersion program. If you want to take classes in a local university, somewhere in a different country, we have connections with universities across the globe. So all the credits you are earning through these different programs are BU credits. There's no fear that studying abroad is going to hinder your ability to graduate in 4 years. It also means that your financial aid and scholarships travel with you abroad. So it's usually less expensive to study abroad than it is to stay on campus. And it's available for almost every academic program that we offer. So even if you're not studying a world language or international relations, you can go abroad and student teach. You can study marine biology abroad. There are so many different options that are major specific if you'd like them to be. All right, that was a very short BU overview, but I'll pause there because I know we have lots more questions to ask.
Thank you, Elise. Appreciate it. All right. So I know that was a very aggressive timeline to get through all of that information. But as Elise mentioned, we do have a couple of other questions that we've asked our reps to prepare. So for our representatives, if you could talk a little bit about the role of testing in your admissions process and how you're expecting it to evolve. I know a few of you have mentioned a little bit about that process in general. So you don't need to belabor the point if you've already discussed it. But if there is anything additional that you'd like to add, we'd love to hear from you. So whoever would like to get started, feel free.
Absolutely. So UMass-Amherst went test optional as part of the realities of COVID. And we ran that for 4 years as kind of a test to see how things went. And we found that our test optional students performed as well, if not better, than students being test optional indefinitely, which we're very proud to say. The majority of students who apply do not submit scores. That is true of the majority of students who are admitted, who receive merit scholarships, who are admitted to the Honors College. All did not submit scores. I will say that you do not submit them. We're not going to spend any time worrying about why or considering it. It's just one small. If you do submit them, we will see them and we will factor them in. So definitely take that into consideration and check with your guidance office as to which is probably the best route for you to follow.
I can jump in.
Yeah.
At BU, we are test optional for seniors who applied this year and juniors who will be applying next year. We're hoping to have a more final statement for how we'll move along in the future soon. But for right now, juniors and seniors, we are test optional for all programs, the Honors College, scholarships, etc. Rachel, I love what you said about not wondering why you decided not to submit tests. I did not have time to do that when I'm reading your application. I'm more focused on getting to know you as an applicant. We had last year about with tests, and about 60% of our enrolling class had tests included with their application. So the ratio isn't too far off. We don't greatly favor students who are submitting tests. Those who submit usually have higher scores, so it tends to benefit them in the long run. But generally, you should do what's best for you when applying to BU.
If we do continue our test policy for Syracuse for next year, I will say there is one caveat. There is one program, which is an early assurance program into medical school. So there is that one specific program, if we were to remain test optional, that would require test scores as part of that program.
For USC, we were test optional for the class that just applied. Moving forward, we're not sure yet, so we're hoping for some decision on that coming up. But when we were test optional for this past class, it was the same for us. If you didn't submit the test scores, we don't worry about it. We don't look at them. But if you do, then we do factor that into your admissions review. Other than that, just overall rigor and merit is what our main focus is.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Before I continue, I'm having some connectivity. Is everyone else experiencing that, or is it just me? You're good? Okay, as long as it's just not just me, or if it's just me, that's fine. Okay.
And you look good and sound good, so.
Okay, excellent. Love it. All right. moving on, and I know some of this was discussed as well during your individual presentations, but if you have anything additional to add about the admissions process and what that might look specific to your individual institutions, keeping in mind that the majority of our guests this evening have not, or I'm assuming none of our guests have applied to college yet, so many will be applying this upcoming fall or in subsequent years.
At UMass, we utilize the Common Application. You can visit our website to see a full listing of the requirements, but they include exactly what you expect. An essay, letters of recommendation, extracurricular activities, transcripts, and so forth. When you see at UMass the requirements, there's no need to go above them. If we say that we are looking for 2 years of foreign language, truly we're looking for 2 years of foreign language. If you take more, that's fantastic. But isn't necessarily going to give a boost to the application itself. We are holistic in reviewing the entire application. There is no opportunity for interview, just given the fact that we have about 51,000 applications. So that unfortunately is not part of our application process. We also do not track demonstrated interest as part or reflect on it as part of the admissions process. The reality is, and I'm sure that my colleagues can confirm this, if you interact with us in any way digitally, there's a footprint of that. So if you send an email, we have that footprint, but again, it would not be taken into consideration as part of the application process. I would also like to note there is no application for the Honors College. We consider all students to be invited, and we admit about 10% from each major to ensure that we have a diverse class.
When it comes to BU, we're also a holistic review school. We use the Common Application as well. Again, all the traditional things you would expect to submit with your application will be due for us too. High school transcript tends to be one of the more important factors when we review applications. So we do look at everything. All of those are parts of your application, the letters of recommendation, the essays, etc. But we do have to ensure that you're going to be academically successful at BU. So your GPA across all 4 years, as well as the rigor of your curriculum, is really important to us. We don't offer interviews. We had 80,000 applications, just can't do 80,000 interviews. So that's not part of our process. But the one additional item is just that supplemental essay that's built onto the Common App. You have 2 choices, and we had a new essay this year. You could choose from 2. Why are you applying to BU? Plain and simple. Please don't write about because you want to continue to live in the Boston area. We get that a lot. There are 60 schools in Boston. It's not what we want to read. The other option was to write about a cultural or community issue that has impacted you in some way and what you're doing about that issue. So that may change for next year, but you will likely have a second.
One thing I'll add with Syracuse, 2 of our 10 schools and colleges do have their talent-based programs, architecture, and then in the visual performing arts like musical theater or film. And so there's that additional component, and then we'll use that in the decision-making process for those programs.
Same with USC, we are, where was I going? So we don't do early decision, we only do early action and regular decision. So those are our 2 timelines. Early action tends to be super early, October 15th is our earliest deadline, and then regular decision being December 1st. And you can use either Common App or the USC portal. Traditional applications, similar to everybody else's. We do let you select 2 different majors on there because some of our majors do tend to be slightly more competitive than the others. So if we cannot get you into that first major, but we otherwise think you're a good fit, we'll try to factor in that second major choice. Academics is at the forefront of what we're looking for in your application, but again, still holistic. We want to see who you are beyond the classroom. As well, for honors, there is a separate application, like I mentioned earlier. It's just extra, I think another extra essay and recommendations. And with that, you do get to be considered for the top 3 scholarships for the university as well. And for capstone, there is no application process, I think.
Great, thank you so much. All right, and lastly, to kind of wrap up our presentation this evening, we've asked our representatives to, we've given them each one question to kind of prepare an answer on. So for the next 5 to 7 minutes or so, we'll go through each of these questions. So starting with UMass, if you can talk a little bit about fit and why that's so important in the application process for students. How do you know if a college is a good match?
Absolutely, fit is so important, and it's going to mean different things for different people. For some, your priorities may be, certainly could be in the mix, is the academics, perhaps the size and location of the institution, extracurricular activities, if sports are available, theater, and so forth. So it is important to get an idea of what is the most important things that you're taking into consideration. And financial aid has to be a part of that process as well. I encourage students as they're looking at schools in the fall, this is the time when you're starting to kind of date lots of ways. You're really kind of finding out about schools. You don't fall in love until the spring, when you have an opportunity to know where you've been accepted and what your financial aid packages look like, which I know is complicated this year. And then also, I think what the intangible is that once you're on campus, can you imagine yourself living there? And that is something that you can't anticipate or define. It's important, though, as you take into consideration everything. I will emphasize that there is no one right college. There's lots of great opportunities. So you could have that fit at different places, ultimately sit down as a family to discuss. I do encourage those discussions to stay within the family. There's going to be a lot of people who want to tell you what is most important for you. Their opinion does not matter. Identify who your best advisors are, your family, your parents, and then of course your guidance counselor.
Thank you, Rachel. We're going to go to Nana next and ask, there's so many different types of applications, and we don't expect you to go into all of them, but to kind of help families understand the need to read the fine print and to kind of explore what might be right for them.
Yeah, so there's the big four, I would say, would be early decision and early action. An early decision and early action, the only real difference is one is binding and the other isn't. So early decision would be for those students who know that this is the university they want to go to. If they get admitted, they're going. So that would be your early decision. Early action does not bind you. You would still have until whatever the deposit deadline is for that university to decide if this is where you want to go. And that tends to be a little earlier than your regular decision deadline. And regular decision is that final, you're just applying to colleges, trying to see where you want to go. And that's not binding either. It's just you can pick, you hear back a little bit later with regular decision. For example, with USC, if you apply early action, you hear back in mid-December. If you apply regular decision, you hear back in mid-March. So that would be a little bit of a difference in both. Sometimes there are certain perks with either or. For early action for our university, if you apply early, then you get to apply for housing early. So you might get better selection for housing, and for each university it can be a bit different. So if you have certain interests, you can pick those. And rolling is some universities will look at applications as they're coming in, and you'll get decisions faster. There might not be a certain timeline, it just might be coming in as they're going. Did you want me to talk about deferral as well as a part of the question?
No, I think that was, oh, Elisa says, sure, go ahead. I think, that's good overview. Those four major ones are good. And then just make sure you read everything for every school.
Great, thank you so much. Moving on, so Ken, if you could talk a little bit about what our students should be focusing on right now. As I mentioned, most of our students are juniors or younger, so what can they be working on as part of their applications and just prepping for the process?
Yeah, a couple of things that I had prepared in advance. Rachel covered two of them. One of them was researching school, so making sure if you haven't toured any place yet, suggest to do that. In your thought process of, I would still go check them out. Use right in your backyard. You could go see if if that urban kind of community fits you. Another piece of advice: crafting lists. So making sure that your list is on point. So working with your family and your guidance team to do that, and that they're, like Rachel said, not really having a dream school just yet. So holding off on that. Ideally, the schools, all of the schools on your list can be that dream school. And then getting organized, like simple things like having a place to put your brochures that you get from, my son is a high school senior, and we have piles of brochures, even from colleges that aren't on his list, all over the apartment. I have some because I bring it to our marketing team, but they're just have a place where you can just do that. And as well as all the deadlines, think about, just even the 4 of us, I think all of our deadlines probably are all different for the application, for example. So having like a Google Doc, get organized and put that on there.
Thanks, Ken. And then the last question is going to go to Elise, and it's about, when we talk to kids about college, we often talk about you're looking for a place that you're going to live for 4 years, and it's your home away from home. So thinking about services and opportunities for academic, health, social, emotional, all of that, just in general, what's available on campus?
Yeah, happy to answer this question. I think it's really going to differ between each school that you're applying to. So you should be asking when you visit schools, when schools visit you in the fall. It's a great question to be asking, depending on what your personal needs or wants may be. Most schools are going to have like a gym that's open for extended hours during the day. So if you really need that like physical outlet, the gym is going to be the place for you to go. But is there one big gym? Are there 2 on separate ends of campus? Does each dorm have like a little bit of material for you to work out with? And then when it comes to your like physical health, like when you get sick, what happens? Who do you go to? Can you go to your RA, your resident assistant, for assistance? Is there a student health center on campus? I would say most colleges generally have that. How does health insurance work? I know at BU, you can opt in to BU health insurance, or if you're still on your parents, you can use that option as well. And then I think probably most importantly nowadays is going to be that mental health component too. What are colleges doing to support their students' mental health on campus? What kind of facilities, what kind of groups or outlets are available? At BU, we have different centers that will support our first generation students who are looking for that community on campus. We have our Howard Thurman Center that's going to support a lot of our cultural groups on campus. So if you're looking for students who have a similar cultural background to you, we have a peer listening program. So if you want to just talk to someone, you can set up an appointment and anonymously talk to a peer of yours. All kinds of stuff like that is going to be really important to you as a student, and it's a great question to ask when you are on those campus tours. The one other thing I will mention too is about disability and access services on campuses. So if you are on an IEP at the moment, if you know that you're going to need some sort of accommodation when it comes to college, I can't say this enough, start that process early. As soon as you've committed to a school, start working with that school's resources, because it can be a long process, but most schools are going to have those accommodations available to you when they're necessary.
Great. Thanks, Elise. All right. So in the interest of time, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I think you've all kind of given us a really, really nice overview of your schools and shared all about the amazing things that you're all offering, and a pretty comprehensive overview of the admissions process in a very short period of time. So we really commend you for doing that. We do want to acknowledge our guests that have joined us this evening for the attendees for tonight's panel. So if we do have any questions, we could take 1 or 2. So if anybody has any specific questions for any of our reps, please feel free to unmute or just throw them into the chat. So we'll give a little wait time before we move on. That was a long enough wait time. But if anything comes up, you can certainly reach out to your counselor or your student's counselor, and we can help you get in touch with any of the reps that are here this evening. I believe, Ken, you might have mentioned the visits that our representatives do at the high school. In the fall, we're really fortunate to have most of you, if not all of you, visit us. We have over 100 colleges that visit our school during DSV, and it's a great way for our students to connect with representatives, and oftentimes it's the person who's doing the first read of your application. So it's a really good way to get questions answered. And even as you've seen this evening, oftentimes these representatives are alums of that university, and so they can speak from both the professional side and that student experience. So definitely encourage our students to attend those visits in the fall. And then coming up for our juniors, we will be having some more specific workshops for you during DSB on different topics such as essays, resumes, creating a college list. So stay tuned for more information on that. We're looking forward to diving into each of these topics a little bit more. So I'd like to thank our guests for joining us this evening. We really, really appreciate your time, your support, your energy, your enthusiasm, and the work that you do. This recording will be available online in a couple of days once we can get it situated. So if you missed anything, you can always fast forward and come back. But once again, thanks to all of you for joining us, and we hope to see you at 6 o'clock in the next panel. Have a good evening. Thank you all. Bye-bye.